Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm CBS 19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony. On the tail end of a very hot day across East Texas, it was the hottest day so far in 2025, but tomorrow is going to be hotter. Thanks for joining us here on our Facebook page, also on our YouTube channel and on CBS 19 Plus. The stream here for the next few minutes going over the heat that is going to be moving in tomorrow. Tomorrow will challenge some record highs across the area. Today, you'll notice that Mineola and Tyler were into the lower 90s. Longview and Henderson also reached 90 degrees, along with Nacogdoches up to 90 degrees. While Lufkin reached 91 and Groveton up to 92. The core of the heat is over central Texas, but the leading edge of that core of the heat now showing up over toward Waco, where it's 94. Waxahachie around 92, and Dallas at 93 degrees. Got my table here in case there are any questions that we can answer any questions, but it looks like it's just going to be hot and dry tomorrow. In fact, hot and dry for really the foreseeable future. There could be a few thunderstorms on Saturday, which I'll show you in just a second. I think the better chance of rain holds off until next week, maybe Tuesday night into Wednesday. Heat alerts, none here in East Texas. National Weather Service office over in Shreveport says they doubt that they will issue any heat advisories, but make sure you tune in to Sarah Blue in the morning on Morning L starting at 5 a.m. and she'll get you updated in case there are some heat advisories issued overnight. But right now, National Weather Service office in Shreveport and at least Fort Worth do not think that we are going to see a heat index value of 105 tomorrow, and it won't stay that way for at least 2 to 3 hours. So we'll probably stay out of any type of heat alerts. Different story in central Texas, where we're talking about a heat advisory for these areas in orange. That would include Waco. And then you get down to Austin and San Antonio, you have an excessive heat warning, meaning that they could see a heat index tomorrow that climbs closer to 110 degrees. Here in the orange area, maybe 105 to about 109 throughout the afternoon. Gorgeous sunset occurred tonight over East Texas, with temperatures cooling off slowly thanks to a south wind and these high cirrus clouds on the horizon. And these clouds tomorrow could prevent us from breaking the high temperature. If we have enough high-level cloud cover tomorrow, then we might be 93 or 94 degrees and fall just a degree or two shy of the current record of 95 set back in 1901. 85 degrees right now. This is noticeable. The dew points have come up. Yesterday at this time, if you were watching, we had a dew point in the upper 50s, and today it's in the mid 60s. When you walked out the door this morning, you might have noticed a little more stick in the air, and that's going to stay with us through the overnight hours. The south winds here and these high clouds will probably only allow the temperature to fall to about 72 for the overnight low. Right now, over in Longview, we're at 82. We're at 79 at Carthage and in Marshall. So maybe a couple of areas closer to the Louisiana border, we may see some lows falling into the upper 60s, since we're already into the upper 70s there. Lufkin and Crockett currently at 83 degrees and 82 degrees respectively. Athens currently at 82. At Sulphur Springs, it's warmer, along with Terrell at 84. And look at Dallas, the urban heat island effect holding in the heat from all of the concrete and buildings around Dallas. All right, so here's a little dry line. Behind the dry line, where you get that drier air, you have the ability to warm that air a little more. And so San Antonio was at around 103 today. They've dropped back to 97. San Angelo was up to 105. They're back to 96. Lubbock back down to 90. This dry line may surge eastward across the state again tomorrow, and then that will allow some of that mixing to occur that could push that temperature up to about 96 in Tyler, 97 at Mineola. I do feel like our western counties are going to see more of the heat. Look at Dallas tomorrow. Maybe up to about 103. Waxahachie around 98. Waco potentially up to 104. You'll notice going farther to the southeast, Center and St. Augustine around 95 and 94 degrees respectively. 95 at Lufkin, 95 at Nacogdoches, and Henderson Longview right around 92. Again, if we hit that 96 in Tyler, that would set a new record high. So we have a weather impact alert for Wednesday. The timeline is essentially noon to 8 p.m. If I narrowed that window down, we'd go 1 to 7 p.m. on that. The impacts here: heat illness, heat sickness, heat exhaustion, dehydration is our biggest concern for tomorrow. We are not acclimated to heat like this. The hottest day up to this point so far was 88 degrees. And then today we popped to 92, and tomorrow we could add about 3 or 4 more degrees to that. So the need really is to drink plenty of water, stay hydrated as much as you can all day, finding shade when you can also, especially if you work outside. If you can spend some time inside, or if you like to exercise, do it earlier in the morning, even though it's going to be warm and muggy in the morning, with temperatures already in the low to mid 70s through the morning hours, quickly warming. Probably by noon, if we're going to make that record high, we'll have a temperature at noon tomorrow that should already be around 90 degrees. Here's the 3-day forecast. Partly cloudy, weather impact alert tomorrow. More clouds Thursday and Friday. Morning lows mid 70s with a lot of humidity, and daytime highs may fall back to about 89 degrees. But that's a sticky 89. That's not a comfortable, fresh feeling 89. That is a muggy, warm temperature there at about 89 degrees. All right, so weather impact alert. The record heat is on the board for Wednesday. The National Weather Service is calling this a major to extreme heat risk all across the state of Texas, because we could see July and August-like heat, and it's only just going into the middle part of May. So it's a little unusual. Heat exhaustion, heat stroke, certainly a possibility, and that has more to do with not being acclimatized to the type of heat that we're going to experience over the next couple of days versus the actual feel of the heat and how hot it will be. Water vapor imagery tonight. We're looking at some high cloud cover drifting in from the west. Now, the high cloud cover, these are going to be high cirrus clouds. You'll see the little pink areas. There's a little more water concentration in those clouds, so perhaps at times a few puffy cumulus clouds moving through the area. If we get enough of that cloud cover, like I said, we could end up 93 or 94 degrees, but it still looks like it's going to be very, very warm no matter what. Looking at the water vapor imagery here, we have a little bit of a northwest flow over the Red River up to the northeast. Remember the big upper low that brought us the weekend rain? That continues to spin out to the east. Notice the direction and movement of the clouds here. Let me point this out for you. They're essentially moving in this direction. So as they move in that direction, what are we seeing there? How about a big upper level high that'll be parked farther to the south? But the point is the influence of this high pressure system stretches all the way up to Tyler, and that's why we're going to be so warm. You can really see that, just the way the clouds are moving, the ridge of high pressure aloft. A pretty good illustration there. In fact, on this hot and humid weather pattern graphic I have here, we have the high depicted, the center of the high in South Texas, with that hot air spreading across West Texas through the hill country and then all the way over into East Texas. This high likely blocks the movement of this high pressure or low pressure system, or at least keeps it farther to the north. So that will take severe weather threats through the middle part of this week, farther north and then into the Great Lakes. We will stay out of severe weather threats through the end of the week. Area of low pressure out here kind of gets blocked by the ridge, so it really can't eject and move eastward, but we do stay in that southwesterly flow. It's very humid. The high kind of re-intensifies a little bit Friday, so there's a chance that over the weekend we pop back into the 90s. There's a little ripple that comes by Saturday, just real subtle. I don't know if you could see it there. So maybe a few scattered showers, thunderstorms Saturday morning or Saturday evening. Meantime, the bigger feature begins to become that upper level low pressure system over the western part of the United States. Still, it may take until Tuesday to really start to feel that. Sunday could be dry. Monday's likely dry. We have breezy southwest winds. Storms could develop in Oklahoma, Kansas, up toward Missouri. Notice how the winds aloft are diverging here from Chicago through southeast Missouri into northeastern Arkansas, western Kentucky. So this area here may see some thunderstorms. And then as this low moves a little farther to the east on Tuesday, it'll drag a cold front by name or technicality, because if it drops from 91 to 86, it doesn't sound like much of a cold front. But since there are no such things as cool fronts, there are cool changes in Australia, which is essentially their version of what we call a cold front. The cold front will move through and drop our temperatures again about 6, 7 degrees, but bring us a chance of rain on Tuesday. So I think we're dry next couple of days. Friday, there's a small chance of rain. Saturday, there's a 30% chance of rain. Sunday, a 20% chance of rain. And by next Tuesday, we're up to a 40% chance of rain. Now, here's another thing that's going to stick with us, the humidity. It's humid tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we are not going to lose the humidity. There's no dips with comfortable feeling air coming in maybe until the middle part of next week. So just thinking about that, that's why we have some of these concerns for exercising outside as early as you can, trying to get out there and beat the heat and beat the humidity for sure. I'm just checking out some comments or questions on Facebook. Don't see any right now, but we do appreciate those who are watching. Future Skycasting, I'm going to start this tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. And pick your city out. Mid-90s, upper 90s. Palestine, interestingly enough, 93 probably, with a little patch of clouds being at least modeled by our in-house computer model. So mid-90s, upper 90s across the area. We get into Wednesday night, Thursday morning. There's more cloud cover. There are some indications of maybe a sprinkle, just a little perturbation in the flow that could bring just this little piece of energy through that could kick up a random shower or a rogue shower, but I just don't think it's much of a chance. So we have southwesterly winds, temps in the mid-70s Thursday. We're in and out of clouds. This isn't really, this is kind of hard to see. The brighter white clouds are going to be your lower or mid-level clouds, but there is a fairly extensive layer of high, thin cirrus clouds sitting over top of us Thursday afternoon. And so that's why that high shows up to around 89 in Tyler, 88 in Jacksonville, 86 at Henderson, and 89 at Nacogdoches. And then those clouds lower by Friday morning so that temperatures are in the mid-70s, 75 at Longview and 75 at Palestine. St. Augustine, 76, kind of a warm morning down on Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend, even up toward Lake of the Pines and back toward Lake Fork. Temperatures are going to be in the mid-70s. Muggy, windy, so to speak. If you're out on the water, I always like to add about 5 miles to the forecast wind speeds that we talk about. We talk about wind speeds that are going to be in that order of about 10, 15 to 20 miles an hour. So Friday and Thursday on some of the area lakes, we could see some higher wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour, maybe a white cap here or there. It doesn't look like it'll be real rough, and there are no wind advisories in effect right now. But Friday afternoon, and this is how I have the data out till 1 o'clock Friday, we'll get 6 more hours of data in here and share this with you on CBS 19 News at 10 o'clock. We'll be able to see if we can get any type of like light rain shower that would form also Friday night. The heat index will be a big story. Again, I think each and every day going forward, we're talking about a heat index that's at least in the mid-90s, but tomorrow probably the highest heat index values that we're going to see, 95 to about 100 across the area. It's interesting to note that St. Augustine and Center come in around 92 to 93, maybe due in part to a little bit more cloud cover down there, but we will wait and see how things play out. All right, so next 5 days, just hot tomorrow. Thursday's warm and humid. Friday's warm and muggy. Saturday and Sunday are warm and humid. There's a little chance of rain here Saturday, and I'll show you that here looking at the next 4 days. So we'll start tomorrow. We have the cloud cover coming in. Again, it's the cloud cover that could prevent us from seeing a record high tomorrow. Thursday afternoon, there's just a couple sprinkles trying to show up, though I think it's about a 20% chance at best. Friday, little 20% chance for a shower. Again, this is going to be not high resolution data. It's sort of medium resolution data, so anywhere in that green area, maybe there's a brief shower. That's Friday evening. That goes by. The frontal boundary's trying to push in toward the Red River. There could be a couple showers, thunderstorms that shake loose and move close to Interstate 20, but essentially stay in the Arklatex through Saturday morning and then move away. And then the ridge will reassert itself on Sunday and into Monday, and then there'll be a bigger push of chances for rain showing up on Tuesday. So rainfall over the next 7 days. This models this fairly, I think, decently. It does kind of show the showers and thunderstorms that may form out to the northwest of East Texas. So the Dallas-Fort Worth area up towards Sherman. Maybe Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, there could be a few downpours. As those showers move eastward, they weaken. Notice over deep East Texas, you're talking about 1/100 of an inch to maybe 1/10 of an inch, maybe up to about 1/4 of an inch. And then when we get to next Tuesday, and of course tomorrow we'll have Tuesday better modeled in terms of the showers and thunderstorms that come in. And next Tuesday could also come with a bit of a severe weather risk. But most of the rain should be Interstate 30, closer to the Red River, Arklatex, and then back to the northwest. So if we get anything, I think there is a low-end threat for severe weather over the weekend in East Texas. Better chances for rain, maybe a heavier thunderstorm here by next Monday, north and west of Dallas, south of Oklahoma City, kind of along the I-35 corridor. Look how dry West Texas is. They need some rain, and they continue to stay dry. Probably doesn't rain in the next 5 to 7 days down toward Galveston, Port Aransas, South Padre Island, anywhere over South Texas or even Southeast Texas, even over toward Beaumont and toward New Orleans. It looks like it's going to be fairly dry. All right, so tonight it's mainly clear. Just those high, thin, ribbony clouds moving through. 72 for the overnight low. And then tomorrow, it's a hot May day, near record high temperatures. I'm going to stick with the high I've been going with since Sunday, right around 96 degrees. And then when we take a look at the Baylor Scott & White Texas Spine and Joint Hospital 10-day forecast, we'll wrap up with this. So we got the weather impact alert for tomorrow and a record high possible. Cloudy skies Thursday, Friday, 30% chance Saturday, maybe an isolated thunderstorm Sunday, scattered showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, then back to partly cloudy skies by Wednesday, an isolated thunderstorm possible on Thursday. Maybe the thing to note here is this overall sort of general trajectory of temperatures being fairly consistent through Monday at about 90 degrees, a little bit of a dip. The frontal boundary retreats back to the north, and then another frontal boundary that pushes through, and temperatures fall back to about 83. Overall, though, when you look at the morning lows at the end of that 10-day forecast, you might notice it's a little bit cooler, so maybe a little less humid. Certainly humid mornings. Everywhere we're seeing 75, 75, 74, 75, 75. Probably a very humid morning every time in each one of those, but maybe a better setup for severe weather next Tuesday. All right, thanks for watching our CBS 19 stream, our CBS 19 Plus stream, also on our YouTube channel. If you like this forecast on the YouTube channel, you can always like, subscribe, or share this. And also on Facebook. If you want to share this out, feel free to do that. We appreciate you watching on Facebook tonight. We're going to see you tonight on CBS 19 News at 10 o'clock. Have a great evening, everyone.